All right. Let's see where we left off. Okay, side swipe. Boring. I kind of want to talk about some of the new Uldum cards too, so maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. Basically, Plague of Murlocs is not busted. What up, cheese? Alright. Side swipe gets a 4 for design. I think it's a pretty basic iteration on crushing walls. It's probably balanceable, and the flavor is a good one. Wee Basher gets a 2. Probably need to be a rare at least, but I don't know if we'll ever see this type of effect in Hearthstone. I don't think we will. Yeah, I think it's alright. Like, 1 is alright, if you remember. 1 is, like, passable. Wee Basher's probably fine. Probably gets a 2. Flavor gets a 1 as well. It's like too small to take exactly 1 damage. Predatory Lender gets a 2 for flavor. A 1 for balance probably, because there are decks that just don't want their hero power ever. They're few and far between, namely like Aggro Warrior, and for design it gets a 3. I don't know, it's alright, it's not super interesting. I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I just don't think it's actually that well designed. Totem Carving. Summon a random basic totem you don't control. If you already control all 4, summon a 3/4 totem. Okay. I'm gonna give this a 4. I'm gonna give the flavor a 1. Could easily be a 2 in flavor with better name in my opinion. Balance probably gets a 2. I think it's probably fine. I don't think that they should have pushed the Wind Shear Stormcaller totem thingy much more than they did, but I think 1 more card would have been fine. Yeah, it's definitely text heavy. I agree. Okay, Severance. Okay. I believe that Severance is a 5-star card. I also think the flavor is a 2. It might not be immediately obvious, but I think it's kind of cool. It's basically like this demon is getting fired from the Burning Legion, and the Wrath of Sargeras is destroying everything. You know, it's a bit abstract, but like Severance obviously means like cut ties. So like, if you cut ties with a friendly demon, then that's bad and everything dies. I know. For balance, I think I'll give it a 1. I'll give it a 2. Actually, I'll give it a 3. It's not very balanceable, but I think it's perfectly balanced. Yeah, I think with good art, not that this art isn't good, but it's random art that I found. With like specific art, it would be quite a funny card from a flavor perspective. But yeah, I think it's perfectly balanced as is. It's like Assassinate with a minor upside, so. Yeah, I went 1, 2, 3. Because I was going to put 1 because I don't think you can balance it without changing it. Like 6 mana becomes awful. But I think it's balanced as is. So even though it's unbalanceable, I'm going to give it a 3. Okay, anyway, Ready for Action was designed as a replacement for Divine Favor. And we got what is it called? Righteousness? The 5 mana, give your minions Divine Shield. Instead of this. It's a bit floaty, but not like awfully so. I'll give it a 3. I think it accomplishes what it needs to. It's fairly paladin-y. Balance it gets a 2. You could tweak the numbers, make it 3 mana, 4 mana, and flavor it gets a 1. It's just fine. Dark Iron Bouncer. Your opponent can only play 1 minion next turn. I'm gonna give it a 2. It's not really that restrictive, honestly. Balance gets a 1 because, like, I mean, I guess it should be a 3/5, I guess, or something, or 2/6 or something. I don't think the core concept is balanceable though, because like. Actually, maybe that's fine. Not every card needs to be super impactful. I'm gonna give it a 3 and a 2-star for design. I mean, like, it definitely like is decent against a certain type of deck, but even against like a zoo deck, they can usually drop something bigger. You know what I mean? Or like just play spells. So I think it's decent at what it does actually. And the flavor, I'm gonna give it a 2. I think it's pretty good for flavor. Stag Rider. 0 mana, 1/1, battle card, your next hero power this turn costs 0. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking about the flavor for this card. I guess he's like an armored beetle. It is Wisp power creep, but like also like really good compared to like Water Boy or Fencing Coach, but like it's a warrior. Yeah, I guess it's fine. I don't know. It doesn't really do much, I guess. That's why I would complain. You can use it to mana cheat. You could Clockwork Automaton as Ragnaros, or with the Ragnaros hero power, and then play this. And that would be 32 damage. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 3 for niche applications. But I guess it's fine for balance too. I don't really like it that much though. Yeah, that's what I'll say. If you have a weapon equipped, to draw a weapon from your deck. I'll give it a 3 for being just a decent pirate. I think it's perfectly balanced, and the flavor is gets a 1. Not much to say here. Obviously, if you have a weapon equipped, the draw is like slightly less good because you can't play it immediately, probably, unless you have 1 in durability, and it's a pirate, and it has to do with weapons, so it's fairly flavorful. Okay, Blunt Hatchet. After your hero attacks, gain +1 attacks. So, I think this would... Flavor is not super clear. The idea is that it's like it slowly gets sharp over time. It's pretty good with upgrade. So right now it's at 4+1+2+3 plus 4 is 10 damage. If you upgrade it by 1, then you get 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, which is 20. I guess that's really not that insane. So it's definitely like balanced. I'll give it a 3. Yeah, it's definitely just like a reverse Gore Howl. I think that we will see something like this eventually. Reign of Toads. It's not a completely original joke. Yeah, I guess it's okay. I'll give it a 3. It just feels weird like transforming your totems into toads, but I guess it's fine. It's probably balanced or balanceable, and the flavor. Alright, I'll give it a 2 for flavor because it's kind of funny, but this is one of the most cards I don't like that much. Yeah. I mean, Soul of the Murloc, just hero powering in general, token decks in general. Kind of got eclipsed by that Plague of Murloc card or whatever. League Manager. Death Rattle, add 2 random 3-cost minions to your hand. Okay, I like the flavor on this one. I'm gonna give it a 4 for design as well. I think it's pretty, like, it seems potent. It's like 6/6, Death Rattle, draw 2 cards. But it also seems fair because you're playing a 6/6. Probably a good arena card. I think you could make it 7 mana if you were concerned about balance, but I think it's pretty balanced as is. Okay. Unearthed Horrors is weird. This card, like... Yeah, it is probably a good arena card. Unearthed Horrors... I'm gonna give it a 4 for design, even though the text box is a bit unintuitive. I also think it's balanceable. 2 mana might be fine. You could do 2 mana, like summon 2/3 tentacles. I think the flavor is pretty good as well. I'm typing a... Oh, did the bot go down? Oh shoot, I'll have to do it after stream. I'm typing a card idea to myself. Does it spawn none if you have 1 or less minions? Yeah, I think it spawns none. Pocket Void. Destroy a friendly minion. If this is the leftmost card in your hand, it can also target enemy minions. Okay, this card has some balance issues. Probably. I think it gets a 3 for design, just for exposing an interesting concept. I think it executes itself about as well as it can, but it has some pretty major design flaws relating to the balance of the card, and the flavor gets a 1. I think that's probably about the best analysis I can give this card. It's probably the best iteration of this text box, and it is a fairly unique idea. Oh, Midas Touch. Ooh, what up, Burb? Isn't this just DIY design? No, yes, a little bit. It's pretty. It's not DIY design because like it just says what it does. There's no like hidden like I don't know. Mental gymnastics required. I feel like I just did a DIY design card though. Oh, this is funny, Burb, because I'm rating the cards. I think you've only visited the stream once, and I'm rating the cards that you saw when you were on stream. Burb, have you seen like any of these cards or no? I should show you some of my favorite ones. Or some of the worst ones. Wow, this is a 4.5. This card sucks. DIY design is like... It's like a joke. It's like a joke, but a Hearthstone card. But not humorous. So, like... 1 star? No, the first one. What are you saying? It's basically like a card that you don't immediately understand, but once you do understand, you have intrinsic attachment to the card because you basically solved a puzzle in figuring out what the card does. It's basically a phenomenon which is only present in the custom cards community, but I think is fairly present among custom cards community. Like there's definitely DIY magic cards, custom magic cards, but Blizzard would probably not print a DIY card because it's generally just unclear what the card does. I don't know why I just scrolled all the way up. I was looking for a certain card, but I couldn't find it. Well, that was a waste of my time. The closest thing we have to DIY design, the priest one is Oh, the priest one. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for just completely spelling that out. Okay, yes. On our tours, I would say is a little bit of DIY design. It like uses the positioning mechanic of Hearthstone in a way that no other card does, so it takes a second to figure out. The closest card in Hearthstone that is DIY is probably Nightmare Amalgam, which is confusing because it's not DIY design at all, but it fulfills the same exact purpose as DIY design, and which is like to please the community. Okay, anyway, we'll go on. Midas Touch. When your opponents cast a spell, transform it into a coin. Okay, I think this also gets a 3. I think it's a two for flavor, or maybe even a 3. I'll do a 3 because I think it's a fairly paladin-y effect. It's very flavorful, of course, and like is feasibly existing within the Warcraft universe. Balance, I'm gonna give it a 1. I'll give it a 3. I think it's fine. You disagree that the flavor is a 3? Okay, fair. So there's a slight stream delay. But anyway. Yep, it's just counterspell. So here's the thing. The reason I'm giving this a 3 for design instead of like 4, because I like the effect, is that like it's a bit unclear what it does. Yeah, of course it's a worse counterspell, but it's 1 mana. So like, they don't pay for the mana of the that's the thing, is that once it transforms the spell, they don't pay for the mana. So they gain 1 mana. So if they're sitting on 4 mana and they play Consecrate, the Consecrate transforms into a coin, and they cast the coin, and now they have 5 mana. That's what's unclear about this card. I agree. I think it's a good card, and I like it, but it's very unclear whether you spend the mana or not. I also think Spitfire is actually a very, very well-designed card. Like, this might make it in my top 10. I think it's perfectly balanced, and it gets like a 1 for flavor, but Spitfire, like, it just works so well, like, as dealing damage to enemy minions or as, like, damage minion support. Like, if you have a damaged Acolyte of Pain, now you can trigger it twice. Technically, it wouldn't work. Which one? Oh, Midas Touch. Counterspell triggers. Yeah, that's, yeah. Or if you could argue that the counter mechanic is the one that's making you spend the mana, so by transforming it into a coin. But yeah, like Spitfire, Rorschach Test gets a 2 for design. It was a top-down card, so I don't know what I was expecting, but it's fine. It's not that innovative, but thank you, Verb. I think Spitfire is quite well designed. I'll put both these on the screen. The UI for a mobile, so I'm pretty sure there is a card that has 5 choices on mobile. I could be wrong. I know there's a card that has 4 choices on mobile. That's Calamos. I think 5 choices is not that much of a stretch. Obviously, UI is a little bit of a consideration with this card. I mean, like, the question this card asks is, like, how much more interesting is 5 choices versus 3? I think it's a little bit more interesting, but, like, I don't know. You just get a ton of priest minions because of the way Discover works. But yeah. No. Burb, oh my god. You need to clarify what you're saying. I have no idea what you're trying to say. No. Okay, Coin Op Cadet. Gets a 3 for design, 1 for balance, and a 2 for flavor. It's pretty flavorful, I think. Like, the idea you're spending your mana and shooting them at the enemy as coins. The art works very well to support this. It's a little bit of a top-down card, I'm going to admit. The art is definitely carrying this card on its back. It doesn't use the Forbidden mechanic for the first time, which I intentionally did because I think we should get away from that, because spend all your mana is pretty interesting and pretty flexible, and I think Blizzard is limiting themselves by having it only be Forbidden. Yeah, it's pretty similar to Forbidden Flame, and I'm getting a balance of 1 because I think it's like pretty bad at every single mana cost. Yeah, the flavor's pretty cool, but I can't take credit exactly for it. Bad everything else. Yeah, alright, fine, fair. Bronze Martyr. If you've cast a spell this turn, restore 9 health. Okay, I'm gonna give this a 4. The flavor gets a 1. I can't remember what I was thinking about Martyr. 3? 3 has to really go above and beyond, in my opinion. Alright, I'll give it a 3. I think, like, in the right expansion, this could be a 3. If there was, like, somehow ever a, like if this was in, like, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan or some other more modern expansion. Bronze Martyr, I can't remember why I named it Martyr, but it's a bronze dragon restoring health, so I think it's a 1 for flavor. I like the condition of if you've cast a spell this turn. I don't know. It seems like it's a little bit, like, unfair with the coin, but since the like, reward is so not proactive, it's, like, fine. So balance is 2. Okay, fine. Rooftop Grappler. Oh wow, Purity's coming up. Add a random Discover card from another class to your hand. It's fine design, flavor gets a 1, balance gets a 2. It's a lot like Swashbuckler, definitely inspired by that card. I think there's enough Discovers so that this is, like, a nice card. Sands of Time card? Are you serious? Wait, which one? Rooftop Grappler? Okay, Purity, fuck this card. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, it's probably balanced, but I don't know, it's just not interesting at all. I don't care about this card. I don't feel like talking about it. What's up, Grath? Raise Spirits. Set a minion's attack and health to the higher of the 2. Now even Paladin can interfire. I actually kind of like the flavor on this, because you're, like, raising either the attack or health. I think it's a pretty Paladin-y card name, but the effect is pretty weird, so I don't really like it. Balance, it gets a 1 because it's Interfire. Did I just swear again? Oh no. It's okay, I'm playing Nintendo music right now. There's no chance of this getting monetized. Also, if I did monetize any of these streams, I would pay all the money to Nico, because the stream would not be existing without him right now. Okay, that's Raise Spirits. Okay, Ice Crown Delay. Restore 4 health to a character, freeze it. I'm gonna give this a 4. I'm gonna give it a 3 for flavor. Shout out to Krowski for the awesome art edit. And balance gets a 3. Yep, I posted this on Reddit a while ago. Purity Synergy. Yeah. I hate designing Paladin cards. Let me see. I designed 18 Paladin cards. It's not the least. Both Mage and Hunter I designed less of. Okay, Spell Spear Myrmidon. The next spell you cast costs 5. Two. Text box is more interesting than the. Oh, what's up, llama? Then it leads on to be. You have to play it on turn 10. I don't know what I was thinking exactly. Turn 6 ultimate infestation? How? Oh wait, it carries between turns. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, all right. I'm gonna keep it at 3. Yeah, I'm reviewing old cards. Hopefully we'll finish up probably next stream or in 2 streams, and then I'll do the final post that I've been talking about that no one will read, and it will just get buried on Custom Hearthstone. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. This is nice. I haven't streamed in a while, but okay, I'm still gonna give it a 2 for being floaty. I'm gonna give it a 2 for balance. I think it's fine, and the flavor gets a. I could give it a 2 for like being a reference to Naga Sea Witch, but I don't know. Naga Ball Referee, on the other hand, gets a 2 for flavor. I think it's pretty funny. Design gets a 3 tentatively, bordering on 2. Yeah, I think that's fair. Should be epic. The flavor is just that he's a referee, so he's like just like setting rules on your opponent basically. And Naga Ball is a joke from League of Explorers basically. Yeah, that is the flavor. And for balance, it gets a 2. I think it's fine. I think there would need to be some pretty hefty UI with this card that would like make it extremely implied. 2 design. Did I put it? Okay, I'll give it a 2. The only reason I give it a 3 is because I think that the concept is neat. And yes, it means spell minion weapon. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Draw a card that costs more than this for each card in your hand that costs less than this. Wow, this is very dumb. I like the flavor though. And the balance is balanceable probably, but it's a complete mouthful, yeah, wow. It's like way too dynamic. A card draw should never be like this. I didn't use this card already, did I? Why more than this and less than this? I mean, there has to be restrictions. Otherwise, it would just be draw a card for each card in your hand, which would be pretty strong. Okay, Dead Man's Band. Shuffle a copy of your minions in your deck. They cost 1. I already did this on stream. It was called Plot Hole, and it was a little better. 1 star, 1 star, 2 star. Okay, that's it. I forgot I went ahead and rated Bartender Bob. That's funny. Horticulturist. Choose 1. Add a wild growth or excess mana spell to your hand. Yep, we have Bob coming up. This card is really bad from a lenticular perspective, so I'm gonna give it a 2. 1 for flavor, 2 for balance. So the text fits and is not ugly. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Horticulturist, like, do you really want a wild growth that late in the game? And then it's just like 3 mana 2/3 draw a card, which is fine, but. Okay, Bartender Bob was weird. So it's attempt at alternate currency, roughly. Not really. It's self-contained, so it's barely an alternate currency, but it adds 2 gold to your mana tray, which are like these golden mana crystals. They're like coins. They're the ones from the tavern, or the what the heck? Oh, it's just the Nintendo thing that I'm listening to. And so your cards that cost 2 or less cost gold. So you gain 2 mana crystals, but you can only use it to spend. Yeah, it was Mario. I'm listening to Mario Galaxy music right now. If someone has music suggestions, feel free to link it. I'll probably listen to it unless it's like crazy or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not that interesting. It's very confusing. A bit too top down. I'll give it a 2 for flavor. Probably balanceable, but like, I don't know. Okay, Snake Charmer. The first time this minion is attacked, summon 3/1/1 snakes. No, I'm not playing that. Jeez. Okay, I'm giving this a 2 for design. There's not a clear indicator for this card. I'll give it a 2 for flavor because it like is a pretty neat reference to Snake Trap. But I think the text box is more interesting than this card. Like the text box is more interesting than the card actually plays. It's probably balanced or balanceable, so. Manfred Gilneas. Summon a copy of all 1-cost minions from your hand. Three? I guess you could build a deck around this? I don't know. I think the flavor is kind of funny. Especially the art works well with it. He's like a bard who gets an audience of cats, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Quest Hunter. I think you have to play those, right? Yeah, you have to play them. It's probably balanced. I don't know. I'm sure this could inspire some interesting deck. I can't think of it right now, so it only gives a 3. Well, even if I could think of it, I'd probably still give it a 3. Okay, Rush Reinforcements. I think it's actually a 4. I think it's pretty flavorful. I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm gonna give the balance a 1. I think it's pretty hard to. Oh, Burb, if you're still here, we got quite the DIY card coming up. 4-star design. Yeah, that's what I gave it. It works well with like Divine Shield. Paladin's flavor of Recruit was mostly small stuff, I think. They had Call to Arms. I can't remember what else they had, but I mean, I think this is flavorful and like enough mechanically wise. Recruit Paladin is pretty sketchy. You could pull like a Tyrion off this. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about this card. Seems fine. Alright, I'll give it a 2 for balance. It's fine. The name. Okay, you ready for this, Burb? Yep. When a hero power is used this turn, draw 2 cards. Combo. Play as a secret instead. Okay. I'm gonna give it 2 stars for being completely confusing and misleading and just. Alright, see you, Llama. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I don't know. It's like. Wow, you can technically do that. That's why this is getting 2 stars and not like 1. Is that like. Yes, technically this is pretty functional. I kind of like the flavor. Balance. 2 probably. You would have to pay 4 mana to draw 2 cards, which is probably fine. Yeah, I don't know. Yep, this is a DIY card cheese. There you go. Secrets only trigger on enemy turn. This turn won't work, right? I think it still works. I mean, secret. Like, if there was a card that said secret, when a hero power is used this turn, draw 2 cards. I think that's functional, right? It still works on their turn. You know what I mean? Just because it says this turn, the combo mechanic is interesting. He finally said something. This is like a true card right here. Is there a less shitty way to do it? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. Seneschal Trueheart. Start of game, your hero power rotates between all basic ones. After using all, rotate between their upgrades. 2-star design. It's balanced. I'll say it's perfectly balanced. And the flavor gets a 1. I don't know. I don't know who wants to play this card. Like, playing with more hero powers is kind of fun, but the hero powers are generally not that fun. So, like, I don't know. Yeah, but, like, the effect is pretty shitty. I don't know what kind of deck wants all 9 hero powers. That's, yeah. Okay, that's enough of Seneschal Trueheart. Pummel Projector. Your hero power is repeatable while your hand is empty. This is a very true card. True aesthete. Aesthet. It's a 4-mana 6/3. Yeah, that too, I guess. So there's a slight downside. You have to run a crap card in your deck. It's a pretty big downside. This gets a 2 for design, a 1 for flavor. I think I like entirely top down this card or something. I don't really know. It's probably balanced. It's only good in Hunter, right? So probably gets a 1 for balance. Not super balanceable unless you, I guess, put it in the class. Okay, Duskfall. Your opponent's next minion costs 0. When they play it, your next minion costs 0. Life tap. I mean, you could use it with life tap. You would need to be running a really cheap deck. Duskfall. I'll give it a 4. I think this is like way better designed than Duskfall and Aviana. I'm gonna give this a 2 for flavor for being a cute reference to it. I think the Temporis thing is pretty cool. So cool that Blizzard decided to steal it from Burb and plagiarize it and then not tell him. Probably gets a 1 for balance because you pay 5 mana so that your opponent can smash you in the face, and then you can maybe smash your opponent in the face and get an overpowered combo. These cards are from the stream. These are from like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago or something. Okay, this is a DIY card. Yeah, but your opponent can kill that 3/7 body of Aviana, and then your effect is gone. They can't do anything about preventing your effect of getting the 0 cost minion except for not play a minion. Okay, Rekeeper is dumb. Flavor gets a 1, design gets a 2, balance gets a... Actually, okay, I'm gonna give it a 3 for design. Functionally, it actually is pretty interesting. It just hinges on the DIY aspect to be interesting. And you have to know what Keeper of the Grove does, which I don't think many players do because that card sucks. Dude, I remember when Keeper was a 2/4. I liked it so much. It was such like a satisfying card to play. I honestly don't think it was that broken. Also, Ancient of Lore, when it drew 2 cards, that was such a satisfying card to play. Like 7 mana 5/5 draw 2 cards is just like, sometimes you need the heal, sometimes you need the card draw. It just felt really good. Ugh, god. Druid has just been demolished over the years. Wild Growth used to be 2 mana, Innervate used to give 2 mana crystals, Naturalize used to be in standard, Force of Nature, Savage Roar, Ancient of Lore. Balance gets 2, I guess. It's fine. Okay, this mix is done. No one suggested anything, so I'm going with our classic Donkey Kong Country original soundtrack. Oh, Mother 3 complete soundtrack? No. This is a bit loud. Yeah, Rip Druid. Shambler 5 stars. Yep, I'm getting there. Yep, I think Shambler is a 5-star card. Shambler is just so cool. Like, you can use it to re-equip your own weapon. You can use it to re-equip the opponent's weapon if you've destroyed it this turn. I also think the flavor's pretty cool. The idea is that he just like walks around picking up broken weapons. I think that might be able to be made a bit more clear with like commissioned art, but I think this art does a good enough job at that. I could write art descriptions for these cards if I was so inclined. And balance, I think it's perfectly balanced. So yeah, I like this card a lot. Everscale Pod. At the end of your turn, summon a 3/3 Drake, if you don't control one. I don't know. Maybe I'm being lazy, but I can't have the brain power to remember like how this exactly works. I guess it like prevents it from steamrolling and like generally like feels better for your opponent. It allows it to have a pretty high health. Probably shouldn't be dragons. I'm gonna give it a 1 for flavor. It makes enough sense, but Yeah, I think it's balanceable though. You could pretty easily adjust the mana and health. Yep, Mega Primal Fin Totem. Okay, Bewitched Bookworm. You guys probably saw this on the Reddit too. I'm gonna give this a design of 4 stars. I'm gonna give it a design of 5 stars actually. I might be a bit biased in this. I can see, Burb, how you might want to rate this 4 stars. I think it just works really well. Like, you can use it in combo, sort of. You can use it just as, like, a tempo spell damage card. It doesn't feel punishing to get this in, like, Arena or something, or just random card generation, because most decks don't run that much direct damage, and a 3-mana 3/4 is perfectly acceptable. I think it's probably balanced. If this was, like, a 3/3, then I would have to knock it down to 4-star design, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. And, like, the spell damage -1, and the fact that it's after you cast a spell for this card, makes this card scale, like, way worse than people think. Like, people on Reddit were like, this card's broken. You can, if you have 10 cards as rogue and they all cost 0, then you can deal 30 damage to the opponent. Balance 1 star. I mean, I don't know if you've read the balance ratings, but like, a 1 star is a card which has poor balance and has little room to be balanced without ruining the card, or a card which is heavily polarized in how it performs. I don't think this card is that, because, like, at its worst, it's a 3-mana 3/4. If you'd like to argue otherwise, I'd be willing to hear. I also think this card is a 2 flavor. Yeah, but it's also a 3/4 minion. And, like, if I made this a 3/3 and then removed the spell damage -1, now it's, like, polarizing, because it's crappy when you don't go all in. I mean, regardless, I think it's definitely balanceable. You could reduce it to 2 mana. I know, that's the joke, Verb. I'm gonna keep it as 2-star balance, but I see where you're coming from. Okay, Kyrell the Cardlock was a card that I designed like 2 years ago, and I like tried to refine on stream, but I couldn't. I think it gets a 3 for design. It doesn't make much sense. Oh, just you wait till I'm not mobile. Yeah. It's kind of weird. It makes your minimum hand size 5. It's not very intuitive, but it gives you a lot of options to play with. That's why it gets a 3 design. Balance gets a 2. I think it's fine. And flavor gets a 1. Yeah, I don't know. Imbued Crusher sucks. The idea is that this is like a DIY card in the worst way, or like a card from a lenticular perspective. I posted this to like the Custom Cards channel, and Scorp was like, this card is so dumb. It's just a dumb tech card for like 1 card in the game, which is Shrinkmeister. And I'm like, no, Scorp. This card is overpowered with Flame Tongue Totem and Rockbiter Weapon. And so this is just unclear, like, what you're supposed to use it for. I think it's actually pretty strong. If you can, like, use it in a deck with, like, Direwolf Alpha and Flame Tongue Totem, like, this thing can have, like, 8 attack easily. And that's why this card gets a 1 star for design, 1 star for balance. You need that clip. And a 1 for flavor. Wow, what a bad card. Okay, Mount Rushmore. Discover a legendary minion from the past, give it Rush. Wow, this is a 100% top-down card. I think even then, I'll give it a 3. I think a lot of legendaries with Rush are, like, better than they are without Rush. It's probably could be 3 mana, because Discover is a bit scary. I'm gonna give it a 2. It shouldn't be Discover, it should be add random. It would fix the balance problems too. And it gets a 2 for flavor. It's pretty flavorful. Town Riot. Ooh, I like Pain Splitter. That one's coming up. Town Riot. Give rush minions in your deck +2/+2. Kind of like Light in the Darkness. Yeah. Except like Light in the Darkness you can see the buff obviously, so this one you can't see the buff very well. Which is why I'm always hesitant to give rush and taunt to minions in your hand. Okay, Town Riot is kind of like a DIY design card. I don't know. I'm not really feeling this. Doesn't really inspire much in my opinion. Actually, I think the hand buff part is cool. I think the Give the Rest Rush was an attempt for me to try to make the card more complicated to make it more interesting, when really it would have been a more fun card without the Give the Rest Rush. So, I think it's balanceable, but I would have preferred the second sentence to not be there. Okay, Pain Splitter is... I think it's a 2 for flavor. I think it's pretty cool as a neutral common. It's a 1-mana 2/2, always a bit scary. But it does hurt your hero, especially if you start buffing this. Maybe that health drawback is... I'm still overrating it. Like, maybe 4 years of playing Hearthstone and I'm still overrating the amount that health matters in a game. But I mean, if this thing swings 2 or 3 times, especially with buffs, like, that's like a good 5 or 6 damage to your hero, which is like worse than Flame Imp. Obviously this card's neutral, so it needs to be a bit less powerful, and yep, anti-lifesteal was kind of the idea. Since Knights of the Frozen Throne was the expansion that introduced lifesteal, this is like the opposite of that. And so I'm going to give this a 4 for design, and a 1 for balance, because... Actually, I'm going to give it a 2 for balance, because I think if this is OP, it can become a 3/1. 2/3? Are you serious? I think this card is strong. I think like, this card would see play. Well, would have seen play. Maybe still might. Either way, I like this card. Slot McQueen. Reveal 3 minions from your deck. If they cost the same, draw them. 2 for flavor. 1 for balance, it's pretty polarized, and 3 for design. Actually, I'm gonna give it a 2 for design. Even though I'm giving this a 2, I like this card. I think it's pretty fun to play, but like it's kind of arbitrary what kind of deck you run this in. Most likely ones with a lot of 1-cost minions. Yeah. The fantasy that this card creates is much more interesting than the actual result, which is you play it in a deck where everything costs the same, or you just never manage to pull off the effect. So that's why it gets a 2 for design. But the fantasy is fun to think about, so that's why I like the card. Ex-Con Scully. So this was designed as a counterpart of sorts to... Yeah, almost cool. That's what I would describe this card as. Or fake cool. I don't like the word fake interesting, but people call my cards fake interesting a lot, which makes me sad. Ex-Con Scully. For each enemy and minion this could attack and kill, gain +1/+1. So this was designed as a counterpart to Sergeant Sally, basically. And for that alone, I think the flavor gets a 2. It's kind of a counterpart to Sergeant Sally because you can hand buff this and it will gain more buffs, but the card is entirely hinges upon how many minions your opponent has. So I'm giving it like a 2 for design for that, and like even in the end you're just getting like a 3-mana 4/4 with taunt or 5/5 with taunt. Like the for each enemy minion this could attack and kill is like, in the decks this is good against, it doesn't matter because it'll be token decks and they all have 1 health. In the decks this is bad against, which is decks that are mid-range or run only a couple minions, this will never be able to kill, so it won't matter. So that's why I get a 2 for design. Nice with Bran, I guess. Yeah. And it gets a 1 for balance. Nether Burn. Deal 3 damage to a minion. When you draw this, add a copy of it to your hand. I've been sitting on cards like this for like 3 years now. But I think like Maybe it now has a reason to exist now that there's plot twist. I'm gonna give this card 5 stars. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It's like kind of good with hand lock. Should be rare or epic. Apothecary Hummel. All minions have Death Rattle. Destroy a random enemy minion. I'm gonna give this a 4 star for design. 1 for balance. Actually, I think it's balanced, or balanceable at least, and a 2 for flavor. Maybe I'm a bit, yeah, it's kind of like Twin Spell basically, and maybe it was a mistake to print this in Rise of Shadows because of how similar it is to Twin Spell. It's like an analog to it. It's a Twin Spell that refreshes itself. Yes, hello. This card I feel like is very chaotic and fun. I know, Twin Spell, what? What? What about it? I'm aware. But like, plot twist. And Arathi Broodmother, whatever that card is called. Okay. A Violet Page Turner. I like this card a lot more when I first designed it. It rarely matters that much, this metagame that this card creates. It references negative attack and health, which is always a bit weird. What is the difference? So you can plot twist. So it puts it back in your deck, and then when you redraw it, you draw 2 more cards. Well, you gain an extra nether burn. Hand size limit? Yeah, it also improves your hand size limit. That's why I said it's a mistake to print it in Rise of Shadows, because people's first thing they think of is Twin Spell. At the same time, it should be printed in Rise of Shadows because Plot Twist is in Rise of Shadows, so it's kind of in a predicament, but I'll knock it down to 3 for that reason. What is cool? Violet Page Turner, I hope you're joking. Yeah, Excel, Google Sheets is weird. I forget what the shortcut is to, like, modify text. Oh, it's Shift Enter. If you hit Enter, it just deletes it. Oh, no, wait, what? Wait, how does this work? Oh, if you just start typing, it deletes it. So, yeah. You have to hit Enter and then start typing. Vainglorious Victor has +4 attack during your turn. Okay, I kind of like the flavor. He's like celebrating on your turn, basically. Or celebrating on your opponent's turn. Cheese is not ED. Also, this is not Cheese, etc. If you know who that is, Burb. You probably do, because you're on Hearthstone, right? This is probably balanceable. I'm gonna give it a 3 for design. It's fine. It's like reverse Tar Creeper. Oh boy, Razzle Dazzle. So, this made the top cards of the week when I posted this a couple weeks ago, and it got into the top cards post, and someone was like, "Oh boy, another custom Hearthstone card that just gives free stuff to players." And I'm like, okay, Reddit literally lost their shit when Whizbang was printed, so I don't know why you're like losing your mind. Thank you. Also, like, it's like a reference to Picture of Dorian Gray or something, but I stole the name Razzle Fireborn from the Dollar on Heist boss, so I don't take full credit for coming up with Razzle. It's probably pronounced Raziel, because the original name is Basil, so probably Razel. I don't know. Now I'm confused. Okay, I'm gonna give this a 4 for design. The thing that's preventing it from being a 5 is that they would probably never spend the amount of time required to implement this card. This will probably take more time to implement than Whizbang, if I had to guess. Because it messes with players' collections. Balance question mark? What do I do? I guess it's perfectly balanced, right? Because it never breaks the meta. One of the stipulations with this card is that it doesn't change during the game, but it could change right before you hit play, I guess. And for flavor, it gets a 2. It's pretty flavorful. Okay, this should say to summon another leader of the pact, not Hero Cultist. I changed the name and forgot to change it in the card text. I think it's pretty flavorful. I think it's pretty balanced. If not, it should be like 3/3. I also think it's pretty well designed. The sacrifice is pretty clear. You're dealing 4 damage to your hero and skipping out on an attack in order to get another 4/3, which I think is pretty fair. That's about all I have to say. Soul Beneficiary. This was inspired by a card called Cool T. Ross Holiday, which I forget who created. But it was a 1-mana pre-spell that was like next turn you draw from a copy of your opponent's deck. So the Soul Beneficiary is both players draw from a copy of their opponent's deck. So basically, like, this card is a 3-star design because, like, 2 unimpactful, to be legendary, 2 unique for epic. So because, like, when you play this card, basically what happens is, like, both decks copy each other and then swap and then, like, remain copies until this dies. So it has a very, like, extravagant animation and effect on the game and the way that it plays out, but it's an epic because if it was a legendary, players would open this and be like, so I play this and, like, maybe 1 or 2 cards are slightly different and then nothing happens. It's just not impactful, and, like, you can't synergize with this in very many meaningful ways. It's a fun card, I would say, but it's in an awkward place. Balance is fine. It'll never see play, but in the flavor is stolen from Burb with the sole proprietor. I think the flavor is kind of cute. Pet Bestiary is another DIY card. If the copy is emptied, do you fatigue? I don't know. If the copy is emptied, what are you doing not killing Soul Beneficiary? I would assume you fatigue, yeah. It basically just, like, creates carbon copies of each other's decks until it dies. Anyway. Pet Bestiary. Echo, give +1/+1 to a minion with 1 attack or less. Someone told me this was underpowered. It's good with eggs, because you can buff it twice. Good with imps. I'm going to give it a 2 for flavor and a 4 for design and a 2 for balance. I'll give it a 3 for balance, actually. I think it's perfectly balanced. You pretty much can't change any aspect of this card without ruining it. But I think that it's pretty fair as is. Archlich Kel'Thuzad, Rush. Death Rattle, summon Bestiary? It's like a book that has, like, pictures of creatures in it. Two for design. It's like a spike card, but it's not that interesting. I mean, maybe I'm being biased, and maybe this is interesting to some player. Yeah, it's literally just Frostmourne on a minion. Yeah, it feels a little bit uninspired. I think it's pretty flavorful for Kel'Thuzad, so I'm going to give it a 2. Balance gets a 2 probably. You could make it 8 mana if it's overpowered. I don't know. Okay, Goldfisher. Each player draws a card. I'm going to give this 4 for design, 2 for balance, 2 for flavor. Maybe I'm being biased giving this a 2 for flavor just because the name is a dumb pun of goldfish. and the fact that like maybe gold is associated with card draw. I think if this guy was like fishing up some treasure, like if there was an art description column and it's like golden murloc happily fishing up treasure, then this would be the 2 for flavor is justified a bit stronger, but hot light angler, nice. Make them golden. I'll write that down as a potential Reddit idea. Oh god, these cards get weird. These cards get really weird. What was I thinking? What was I doing on this stream? Do you mean the one that I'm referring to? I don't know. Something. Okay. I kind of want to skip ahead, but I don't know. Okay. Ebon Deathforge. Gain a random friendly death rattle that triggered this game. 3 for design? I could see this card being printed. I would prefer a more whimsical flavor, not a serious one. It's pretty balanced though. Probably a priest minion. Blast Jet Departure, draw pirate from your deck. 2 for a design? I don't know what I was thinking. Probably balanced, not very flavorful. I don't know. This card gets a 1 for design, actually. You don't have to craft Undertaker for Plated Beetle Shaman? What is Plated Beetle Shaman? What the heck? That's not real, is it? Is it like a Shutterwalk that gains like 1,000,000 Plated Beetle death rattles and then he dies and you get like 50 armor? And then your opponent silences it? Okay, Legion Hair. Is that a real deck? I've never heard of it. I mean, obviously it sounds like a meme, but death rattle deal 2 damage to the enemy hero for each other friendly Legion Hair that died this game. I'm gonna give it a 3. So it spawns its own deck just by existing, similar like a Pogo Hopper way. Hunter recently has gotten a fair bit of beast manipulation. So you have Play Dead. Actually, Play Dead doesn't work. Sorry. Death rattle triggers don't work, but you have like 9 lives. You have Hunting Party, Dire Frenzy. There's no good way to count how many Legion Hairs have died, and it especially gets weird because you can have the death rattle trigger like 5 times, but only 2 have died, so it only deals like 4 damage. So that's why it's getting a 3. It's definitely a flawed concept, but probably the best iteration of the concept is just a flawed concept. Balance, probably fine. Flavor gets a 1. Okay, I think I am done for the day because I'm 0-star flavor? What's wrong with it? I don't think it's that bad. It's like Legion Hair, and it's rabbits, which Pogo Hopper's rabbit. Quickly, I'm going to plug the rating card form in the description. It's currently at 4 responses, and I would like to get 5 responses before I move on to the next one. It would just be nice, so that we have a decent sample size and not just like 4 people. Why does it have a hoodie? I don't know. I just found a rabbit art. Out of the new cards, you guys did not like Finstein. You guys Did not like Yeti Claws. You guys apparently loved this card, even though I give it a 3. You guys hated this card. Everyone rated it 1 star, all 4 people. So yeah, if you guys could do the card format, greatly appreciate it. But otherwise, thank you all for watching. Today is Monday, so I might be able to stream tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, see you guys.